Hey everybody, we have a special video for you today where we're going to introduce you to the fastest growing sport in the country called
pickleball.
Pickleball. I know what you're thinking. There's no pickles involved.
None.
No pickles, but there is a ball. I don't know why they call it pickleball. Do you have any clue?
No, but if someone can figure that out, that'd be awesome.
Today we're in the city of Placentia in Orange County, Southern California, and we are on 4 beautiful new pickleball courts that were just converted from a tennis court by our wonderful city planner, our Parks and Recreation Department, and our city council. We had these awesome courts built, and so today we want to introduce as many of you as possible to the sport, teach you how to play it, teach you what kind of gear you would need to play it, what the rules are, and maybe even a little bit about the techniques.
Okay, so just pickleball, no real estate.
Yeah, this video today, just pickleball, no real estate.
No, no real estate, just pickleball.
Okay,
Got
here we go. And probably no technique either, because
Oh.
we're not really that good yet. But we're gonna teach you what you should be doing, not what we're doing. Okay, let's take a look at what equipment is essential when playing pickleball. Well, clearly, you're gonna need a paddle. Some people call it a racket. Those people?
Wrong.
Wrong, because it's not tennis. It's not quite as small as a ping pong paddle, but it's not as big as a racket. These two actually have a honeycomb inside. It helps kind of create a little bit more bounce. Some people use them that are almost just flat plywood. Then the ball is a pickleball, slightly larger than a tennis ball,
Colored slightly like a pickle.
slightly like a tennis ball, actually. Okay, they have 2 different kinds. This is an outdoor pickleball. It has smaller holes in it. The indoor ones have larger holes. I'm sure it has to do with wind or something fancy like that. There's got to be a reason. I just know this is
Because
a...
people like indoor, outdoor. Like think of like entertainment space. You have your outdoor space, your indoor space.
That's
It
real
kinda
estate. We're talking
seamless.
pickleball. We're going to stay
Right.
focused. They also say you should have comfortable court shoes. So tennis shoes, I think that's why they call them tennis shoes. They were supposed to be made for tennis.
These are actual pickleball shoes.
What
And the
makes
way
them
you can
pickleball
tell,
shoes?
I think, is these little circles right here.
Just sturdy shoes is what we're saying, that don't slip. That would be helpful. And then the other thing that the professionals tell you have to have is a towel. I've never used it once because they told me I was supposed to have a towel. You should have a towel too.
What does it
So,
say?
it says, I know, let it bounce. We'll tell you what that means once we get to the actual demonstrations. So you need a paddle, you need pickleball, you need sturdy shoes, and a towel. Oh, and some water. You gotta stay hydrated.
Yes. Scoring in pickleball is a little interesting.
But important if you plan on winning.
Yes, very important. You win by getting 11 points.
Yeah,
you have
first
to be
team
the
to 11.
first to 11,
Yeah.
but you have to win by 2. Okay, that's all. I know.
That's all you know.
I just go until I win.
So one of the important things is you can only score when your team is serving. When you're in serve receive, if you were to do better than the other team and not let them score and win the point, you don't actually get a point for that. You have to wait until it's your team's turn to serve before you're able to get a point. One of the other things with scoring in pickleball is you have to announce the score before every serve. In fact, in tournament play, if you fail to say the score before you serve, you actually lose that point.
It's a bummer.
I know, but they're tournaments. And people are making serious money in these tournaments. I don't make the rules. This is where it gets a little tricky. It does take a couple of times of playing before people understand what they're supposed to say when they serve. So let's just say we're starting this game and you would start with saying 0-0. That makes sense because we're just starting. And then which server you are on your team.
1 or 2.
1 or 2. There's 2 of you playing, so you're either the first server or the second. So you would say 0-0-1. That would mean you're the first server. The next person, 0-0-2.
But if you're just starting the game, you're server 2.
And therein lies why pickleball gets confusing, because there's different rules for different things. This is one of the weird rules. So you would actually start with saying 0-0-2 or 0-0 start. And when serving, you do have to keep the ball below your waist when you contact it. How you contact it, whether it's backhand, forehand, none of that matters as long as it's below your waist. But you need to stay behind this line and you need to hit completely diagonal into the court on the other side or on any of the 3 lines that exist in that corner. Now, the only line you can't hit on the serve is the kitchen line. And I know what you're thinking. What the heck is a kitchen line? We'll show you that next. So one of the biggest mistakes in this game is when you serve, your opponent has to let the ball bounce before they can attack it. But the tricky thing is their return, your team also has to let the ball bounce. And that's the one everybody forgets.
Another thing to keep in mind when serving and scoring is if we get the next point, then we have to switch sides as we're serving. I'm still server 1, but now we have an extra point. 3-2, I'm the 1. 4-2, I'm the 1.
So here we are in the kitchen, arguably the most important part of the pickleball court.
Yeah, kind of like how a kitchen is the most important part of most homes. Like it's where everybody feels most comfortable.
We said no real estate during the pickleball video. The thing you hear most often though in pickleball yelled out is stay out of the kitchen.
I love when my husband tells me that.
That's the only thing Brian says is Heather, please stay out of the kitchen, because Brian does all the cooking. But anyway, so this area is also called the no volley zone. And the reason they call it that is because when the ball is in play, you actually are not allowed to step into this section in any portion of it while the ball is in the air. If you do, your team loses that point. Wah, wah. That being said, if the ball bounces, you can then enter into the kitchen, take your shot, and get the heck out. Because if you don't get out, the other team's just gonna smack the ball at you, and if it hits you while you're in the kitchen, you lose the point then too. One very important part of pickleball is the lines in which this game is played in.
Yeah, lines are really important, like line of sight when you first walk into a house. When you can just walk in and see the backyard.
No, pickleball, focus, stay focused. If the ball hits the lines, like we talked about, on the serve, that's considered in. Unless, of course, it hits the kitchen line. We talked about that. But one thing that's important is the ball has to touch any part of the line. It could be the inside edge of the line, it could be the middle of the line, even the outside edge of the line. And the etiquette in this sport is interesting. When the ball comes to your side and you don't know if it's in or out, the side that it's on are actually the ones that call it in or out. And you don't get to argue with them. So if you hit a great shot and you feel like it paints the line on the other side.
Painting is important in a house too. Like you really want to have the good
yes, paint is important.
colors.
That's not what I meant. Painting the line means when the ball hits the line. Anyways, you hit a great shot and you feel like it hit that line, but the other team on the side that the ball landed on says that it was out. You don't get to argue. It's out. So now that you know most of the rules about pickleball, we'll talk a little bit about technique. And the thing I found really interesting in this game is that the majority of it is played right up there along that kitchen line. So you'll see everybody with their toes right by that line doing what's called dinking the ball.
You know what dinking reminds me of in real estate?
No,
Nothing. That's the weirdest word ever.
Yeah, but it basically is just a soft shot that barely goes over the net. And so you'll see grown people playing a game where they're barely touching the ball, and that's a good thing. But I'll tell you what, as soon as that ball goes a little too high or a little too far,
Smash Central.
Somebody's getting smashed really hard. So if you have caught the pickleball bug at all from this video, we would sure love the chance to meet you and to get you connected with other people who love playing pickleball. And so as we're out here on this beautiful day today, just reminded of how great it is to live in Southern California, and most specifically here in Placentia.
We just want to say a special thank you to all the Placentia leadership that had a part in bringing this together. Thank you so much to the City Council, the Parks and Rec people, city managers, leaders, everybody that was a part of making this happen.
We sure enjoy coming out here every day, and we're excited to see this community growing. We have over 300 people now that are already signed up as Placentia Pickleball members, and so we look forward to seeing you out at the court soon.